Shit, man, that I wasn't even really thinking about it like that. But yeah, full year since we were.
Yeah,
like,
it just hit me hard right there. I was like, fuck, dude, we
Yeah.
got like recollections from last year. Like,
that's
shit.
it. I think we both got hung up from it. It's just shit. We were doing the same thing a year ago. But damn,
Yeah.
that's how it goes, man. That's how we're gonna get
felt
there.
Good. Love that
1 year at a
consistency,
time.
man.
Episode 59. I'm Luke.
I'm Joe.
And hopefully that's right. We'll see. Doesn't really matter at this point because I feel like we're getting to the numbers where like that really just isn't so important, you know. And
when we get up into 1,000, it'd be important. Be like, hell yeah, we're at fucking 998. You know, it might be like, yeah, man, look back on it.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, man. I was thinking earlier today because some of the oldest podcasts, like Rogan and another one I listened to that's been around for like 10 years, they're just around 1,000 episodes. Like I don't know what Rogan's at now. He's probably like
well over
1,100.
Yeah,
he hit that 1,000 one with Joey Diaz, and he had the. I thought that was a funny episode, but yeah, I mean he's been at it for a while, but his pace is way higher than a normal.
He's a
podcast.
machine. He's a machine. If you to follow him, like we've talked about this before, you can't even listen to every podcast because for one thing, they're too fucking long. You put too many out.
Too many of them. Yeah. even dedicated listeners like ourselves. I can't keep. I mean, I try to listen to most of them, but the last week I've listened to probably one or maybe. I don't think I've listened to a full one since that Rhonda Patrick episode. Honestly,
oh really?
That's my approach, man. If it's a real good episode that I know is going to be good, of course I'll try to listen to the whole thing. I mean, I want to listen to it, but in general, there's just so damn many of them. I'll listen to part of one and then, depending on how it's hitting or not, skip on to the next one, whatever, because there's just so many hours of material out there. But think about it. Compare him even to like a good podcast hits like 2 or 3 episodes a week. People like that's one thing I gotta respect about the Mind Pump guys, man. They do like 5 or 6 episodes every single week. Like, no way. Yeah. I might listen to 1, maybe 2 if it's something that catches my eye. But yeah,
I could see us doing it more if we had if it was our job. Like we were getting
100%.
paid enough to make.
What I'm doing is comparing like a good output to Rogan, who's like he might do like 8 3-hour podcasts, and he'll easily bang out 2. Sometimes he'll do 3-hour podcasts. That's all day of podcasting. Yeah. So, yeah, props to him for that, man. And honestly, if I was interviewing the kind of people he gets, I probably wouldn't have a problem sitting there all day in that big ass studio.
And it's
He's
not
got
even
the whole
like
gym
it's really,
there.
It's not even like it's really interviewing. It's just having like such good quality conversations. Like that's all it is. Like literally, what he is doing is like just chilling with people, man, and having quality conversations.
Yeah.
Like,
and somehow it turns out so much better. Like, man, yeah, I think you're dead on. Interviewing is not the right word, but I honestly think like the concept of interviewing is kind of played out at this point. Like, it still works in some ways, but sitting someone down and getting like predetermined questions or even whatever, say it's just an athlete or anything, like we have the Winter Olympics coming up, so you'll see, if you watch any of that, you'll see the best athletes interview, but it's the same questions we've always heard, and it's not interesting, you know what I mean, compared to get, like, one of the same guys, like, say you get a skier, like a Bodie Miller or someone, sit down with Rogan for 3 hours, you hear way cooler stuff and more useful stuff, like, about the training and everything, versus just, like, oh, so what's your mindset for this? Or, just the generic-ass questions that every
you hear a lot of the
backstory,
asks. Too, of, like, how, like, you have more of a, I guess, a relativeness to what they're talking about because they'll tell you how they found out about it or something. They're not just like giving you the info like you're sitting in a seminar or something, fucking just hearing it. You're actually just getting the real life them telling you. It's not
more
fixed
of that
in
rawness,
any way.
man.
And who knows? That rawness. Like who knows where it's going too? Like all like one of the ones. It's Louis Simmons, right?
That powerlifter?
Powerlifter, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had a wicked. I mean, I just really enjoyed that their interview there, the podcast that they did. It was really good. They went in a lot of the direction that I thought they would go. Especially with him and what he talks about and stuff. But there was a lot of like backstory and like just like you said, the rawness, and it wasn't even all about that. You know, they had other things that they hit on. It's nice to get that. You get more like people are just real people. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks when they do like these interviews and you're just getting questions asked and these people are answering that, they're just super smart people and like how could you ever live up to that? Well, those people aren't just giving you the realism. They're giving you what they've been practicing and what they've been preparing for. You know, like that's what I think the beauty is about these podcasts is they give you such a raw feeling of people that people are real. You know, none of this is prep.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons it works so well for people like us too is, and that Louis Simmons, he was the founder of West Side Barbell, so an OG in the iron game. But one of the reason it works so well for us is because when you ask him about whatever, like the exercise, how he invented that reverse hyper, he'll give the whole thought process as opposed to just like, what should you do for your back? Oh, use that machine. Like, you get the whole background for it, exactly why it works, how he thought it up, maybe what didn't work. So.
What injury made him need that, stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, which works a lot better for me, personally, but...
Makes things make more sense, man. It's more relatable and stuff, yeah. Hell yeah.
Absolutely, and I think back to the interviewing thing, when you get the generic questions, you get generic answers back. Like, when you get the stuff that someone basically expects to be asked, you get an automatic response, and it might still be legit, like if the question hits home for them and maybe they've even thought it through before or whatever, but if you get a question that's really just expected just because it's an interview, with like, especially, I go right back to the athletes, like I said, this is so rampant, man. You hear every time they have a big fight card, like I watch a lot of UFC myself, and every time there's a big fight card, they're asking all these guys the exact same questions. You can tell, like, the answer just comes out automatically. I don't want to get this shit over with, especially like it's coming up to fight week. They're cutting weight and all that. Like, they ask me the exact same question and give you the same answer. It doesn't mean anything. It's just like a formality, and that's just boring, man. Like, it's not good for anyone. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for the athlete. Like, what's the point of this? I think we're slowly growing out of that, but we'll see, man. There's a badass fight going on tonight. It's a Saturday today. Khabib, that he's not actually Russian, but Dagestan, close enough. Crazy Russian guy that's I think he's still undefeated in the UFC, so it's always a big deal whenever he fights, because you know that shit happens in boxing rarely. You know, Floyd Mayweather with his perfect 50-0 record, even if it might have been padded a little bit. There's a few other boxers who also have undefeated records. As far as I know, he's the only one, like the only tenured guy who's been around for a while. Of course, there's up-and-comers who are undefeated, but there's just so many ways to lose in an MMA fight that undefeated records don't mean the same as they do in boxing. Like, it kind of sucks for boxers, man. When they lose a fight, that like ruins their record. Like, if you're 21,
like
that's
done,
like, all right, you're second tier now. Like, some guys can still get away with having 1 or 2 losses on their record, but shit, man, Floyd set the bar pretty high with that. 50-0 is a tough record. So, yeah, man.
That's going to be tough to beat. I'll tell you, I want to see, I hope it's in our lifetime, because it'd be really interesting to see somebody go from, you know, ground zero all the way, like, you know, kind of like McGregor did, you know. He kind of did it in our lifetime, although I didn't pay attention to him very much. I wish I did in the beginning with his fights over there in fucking England and shit. But here, you know, that'd be really cool. See somebody get like 75 and 0, you know, like, holy shit.
Dude, just hitting and guys have done it, just hitting 75 fights in MMA would be insane. Like, just to make it that
Your
far.
body's going to be done, man, like, done.
Yeah, tore up. That's the thing you always have to consider with athletes, but especially the combat sports like fighting, boxing, and even I'm gonna lump football and rugby and all those in with them. And you could be like 29, should be in your athletic prime, but if you've been boxing since you were 12, like it's kind of like it's like dog years, man. Those add up faster. You just can't sustain that level. Even, I don't care what kind of supplements, what kind of roids, anything, training you're doing. There is, man, I just saw this the other week. There's one boxer, and I think this guy's just got to be a freak. It's, his name's Chris Eubanks Jr., and I never heard of him. I'd heard of his dad. I guess he was an old boxer, too, like, not too familiar. It's not really my sport, but I'd heard the name, so he must have been, like, a pretty well-known guy. But the son is doing fairly well now, and I don't think he's undefeated or anything, but like a good boxer, trains 365 days a year. no days off, which instantly to me, that sounds stupid, but I have to admit there probably are some people out there, especially, I mean, we're talking about he's a certified boxing champion, and he's clearly got the genetics. If his dad was a boxer too, then it's plausible. You know what I mean? Even just for an outlier like that to hold up to that kind of training, I would question if it would be the smartest way to do it, even if you could, because clearly some people can train that much. Like, and just for the full picture here, what I'm saying is most people would just break down. That's past the point of overtraining. It's just unsustainable. You'll just burn out hard. I mean, you can't hit it that hard every single day without the recovery time, but I guess it also depends what kind of workouts he's doing. I'm just assuming they're tough if it's high level boxing, you know. It's rough.
Yeah,
training.
It's really interesting that you brought that up, because honestly, I've been kind of worried about what I've been doing, because everything that I have going on here, I've been training a lot, and plus the things that I'm not thinking I'm training, I'm still training. Like when I go on a 5-mile hike, that's still part of my leg workout that I did yesterday.
Yeah,
you know what
sure.
I mean? So I feel like I'm giving myself the right placement. Like I only do weight training 3 days a week, but I am doing boot camp probably about 5 to 6. Sometimes I'll cut it down to 4 if I'm teaching a lot, if I'm busy. But I actually do a lot of it because it actually gets other people more pumped up if I'm working out with them.
For sure.
So if I'm yelling and working out and stuff and like getting things moving. So, and then plus jiu-jitsu, I'm a little worried, but I've been feeling real good, so I'm going with it. But this is the first time that like I'm legitimately training 3 days a week, 3 times a day. You know what I mean? Because of boot camp and shit. Yeah. And that's
a heavy training schedule, man. You got to think you probably have to make sure.
I mean,
you're
I
on
give
top
myself
of the food
Sunday always. I always give myself Sunday. I'm on top of my food. A real probably key thing that I've really gotten down now is I got a mean shake going on, and that it's really made a big difference. I mean, I kept my diet the same of like all my whole foods and everything, but now what I'm doing in my shake is really I'm doing a shake and then I'm doing like a full shake and then a half shake, whatever that is. I have a 30-ounce thing here, so I do a 30-ounce or a little less, and then I do half of that in the afternoon. I definitely upped my creatine, really increased my my recovery, but yeah, I'm just I feel great, so I'm like haven't been willing to pull back at all because nothing. I feel I'm definitely making huge gains. I can see them, I can feel them, and it's great, but I'm just worried, you know, like fuck, when's it gonna happen? But I feel like I'm stretching things out just enough, you know, like.
That's exactly what you want to do, man, and just be honest with how you feel, because you know you're going to hit a point where you need to give it a rest week or whatever it is. Just be smart about that. Like, personally, man, I feel great because I decided to take the week after Christmas light because it was right on I hit right about 3 months is my my personal limit. Depending, I'll stretch it out a little or cut it back some if I'm training harder or lighter or whatever, but right about 3 months. So this was the last week of my 3-month cycle of this workout, and I'm gonna keep going with a lot of the same workouts, but this is just a perfect week to take it light. Like, you know, I was getting that I do a lot of pull-up work, a lot of rings, so get that little hint of elbow tendonitis. Like, I wouldn't even call it tendonitis, but just little pangs every now and then, you know, a little pain shooting in the elbow, but nothing. Yeah, you know, but not anything. Honestly, I would really consider just the normal aches and pains that are going to come with hard training. Like, I would prefer if my elbows never hurt, but honestly, I've never done the kind of hard training I want to do, whether that's weight, body weight stuff, any of it, and not had the occasional aches and pains. That comes with it, and that's you just have to be aware of it, and like you said, ride that edge, and then let yourself recover. So. Yeah, man. At this point, I feel like I have that shit down to a science. Like, of course, miss it occasionally.
Me too. But I've never had the opportunity of training so much. Like, honestly, and the other thing too that I guess I didn't mention is I stretch twice as much now because I have more time. Like, I stretch at the boot camp. I stretch with everybody every single time we're done, and then I also do my own stretches. And then like jiu-jitsu is like a bunch of stretching too. You know what I mean? So I'm stretching also twice as much as I used to, and I'm working out twice as much as I used to. And it's like a little bit different. I mean, I don't go super hard at boot camp. Like, I'm not going to throw on heavier weight to go through the things because I'm going to do weight training or I'm going to do jiu-jitsu. I don't need to, I'm going to get that later type of thing.
For sure.
Yeah. So I do manage myself well like that, but like I've been like honestly just with all the stretching and like this fucking shake I've gotten down from myself, like the perfect amount of everything, and I haven't had a lot of issues, and if anything, I'm recovering better. And I have been doing about 3 months. Usually it's about 3 months strong. Right now I'm about a month in because when I came back from Thanksgiving vacation, I've been going strong since. Haven't stopped. So, but it just, I wanted to run it by because, man, like 3 days a week training, I feel like I'm fucking, like people ask me what I'm training for. Like people are like, so what do you do? And they're just looking at me because it's making that much of a difference.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite questions at this point because I've been working out for so long. People, whether they already know me or not, if the training comes up to me, well, what are you training for? I'm like, I don't know, life.
Yeah, my life.
Training. Like, I like to train. What do you mean? I've done it for so many years. I couldn't even think about not doing it at this point.
Fucking right, so. Yeah. Well, no, that's what I tell them. I say I'm just keep staying ready for life, man. They're like, what do you mean? I said I want to be ready for anything. I said. I give people quick examples of things like moving across the country. Do you think it would have been really that easy if I wasn't fucking in the shape I am to be underneath that trailer, jacking that fucking thing up? I moved all that weight around a couple times, all by myself, you know what I mean? And it was quick and easy. I was doing this shit on the side of the road, changing the tire and stuff. Like, it would have been a pain in the ass if I had a big old gut. I was fucking not as strong as I was, not as,
right
you know.
There. It's even farther than that, though, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. That was a simple example.
No, and that's a perfect one, man. But it even pushes it farther. Besides just making your life easier, which it will, and a lot of people don't want to admit that. Like, just being in shape will make day-to-day stuff easier. It'll actually make it way more enjoyable. Like doing something. Like, I'm not gonna say I love shoveling snow. But, like, we got a lot of snow on the ground right now. It's giving the steps a quick shovel or something, that's fun because I'm using all the movements that I'm already training anyway.
Yeah.
And shoveling off a roof, whatever it is, man, carrying in some firewood. I enjoy that because I've
it's
prepared
not a big
my body
deal
to handle
either.
Yeah, any kind of heavy work pretty easily, so I like you putting it to use. So yeah, I think it makes stuff easier but also more enjoyable, and that's the kind of thing I think it's hard to totally get on board with unless you experience it. But yeah, man, worth it for me at least.
For sure, for sure. And I guess
I want to go.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say the cool thing that I've noticed from here from back home is like you were just saying. You guys got a lot of snow. You're shoveling sidewalks and shit, shoveling roofs. Like that's what I used to be doing back home. Every single snowstorm, just about shovel like 3 roofs every time. And like all of that was I went extra. But the cool change that I made when I moved out here was now my extra is just working out at the boot camp. I don't have any roofs to shovel or nothing, so like I just do the boot camp thing or I help out over here and like I don't need like that's what I noticed is when I was working I was trying to also fit in that second or third workout for the day because I do like to get that second workout in somehow. And out here I really made it happen, and like the past couple of days here really made it relevant for me because I just actually signing my contract to start with the boot camp and stuff. Like,
oh, badass, man.
Yeah. So it feels good. It feels real good.
And that's the only way to approach it, in my opinion, man. You're just adapting it to whatever is going on in your life at the time, and it is, I would say, a lot more optimal what you've got into out in Colorado of being able to fit in different real workouts, or even like the boot camp thing. That's a little hybrid of working out and work, obviously, because you're going to get paid for it. Then it just fits with the lifestyle. But there is something to be said, honestly, man, for people who just want to be active, who also work physical jobs, because the ones who are trying to train hard for stuff but don't have that, like someone who is an office job but they want to do triathlons or something, what those people are finding is one of the best ways to keep themselves at a higher level, stay in better shape year-round, is just do stuff like say have a standing desk or whatever, stand all day versus sitting will make a huge difference in how, like, your ability to run and stay on the bike and all that. So however it fits into your life, I think there's always a way to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's
the best
huge out
ways.
here too. Like you hit it right on the nail on the head there with the standing desks. Like Alicia, she's getting one.
Shit now.
Yeah, I mean it's fucking
I think
nuts.
They're great.
They have them so that you can up and down. Like Alicia's getting a desk here soon, and she has a bunch of people in the Morgan Stanley group she's in, and they either you can like have it so you're sitting, or you got another stool, you just slide it over, boom, you can stand up, sit on a stool, you can stand, lean against it, whatever you want. You got multiple choices, so that's really cool. You know, rather than that fucking hunched position turning into a turtle slowly.
Dude, I want to know exactly where that started and how it ended up where we're at, because I don't know, it was probably like ancient times over in England or something, because that other half of the world, like India and the rest of Asia, they never went as far into the chairs as we are now. Like, you know, they still...
Dude, they don't even have chairs, most of them over there. Like, there's more people without chairs than there is with chairs.
Yeah,
and that, like, blew my mind.
Most of the world still prefers to sit on the ground. Of course, there's still the generic things, like, you get in a bus anywhere, there's probably going to be seats on it. I don't think they have buses where you're sitting Indian style.
Here's your rug.
Here's your rug. But honestly, man, if I went into, like, I don't know if they actually do it like this in India, but I'm assuming I went into a restaurant and they just had a pillow on the ground instead of a chair. This is sweet, man. I'm all about it.
Oh, hell yeah. I've been to a couple of those restaurants, actually. I've been to a
really?
few
Where
ways. Yeah. I've been to one in New York, which was a Chinese place. It was fucking wicked dope, honestly.
Yeah, I've never been to a place like that.
And the other one was I think it was in London. It was either in London or Amsterdam. I can't remember. We went to a lot of fucking places, but we went in there and it was straight up sit on the floor. Tables were like maybe a foot off the ground or so. You could barely fit your knees underneath them. It was good. It was good. I liked it, and actually my dad really appreciated it because he's like, fuck, finally I can get on the floor and stretch, because, you know, he doesn't really want to get on the floors. It's kind of like, there's not really a place to get on the floor and stretch around, you know?
Well, yeah, and if it's chairs all around, like that's the norm, as it is most places here, it's kind of fucking weird to just like, get down on the floor, especially not
well, no, I mean, even on Amsterdam, like on the travels and shit, like, yeah, we got the hotel room and shit, but there's really not that much room. You know, it's just tight. And this place, it was tough. Like, it was laid out nice, man. It had like huge, nice, comfy pillows. They had like round pillows you could pull in on your sides. It was awesome. It was dope. I enjoyed it.
Sounds like my kind of restaurant, man.
I think we ate more because we were more relaxed, honestly.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure a lot of places do it like that, man. But yeah, somewhere along the way, like I'm not saying all sorts of seats are bad, but we just, I don't know. I guess we just take everything to the extreme.
I'm driving. I'm trying to push. Like one day I will have a room in my house. Like my room, either the living room if I can make it be. I hope it's gonna be the living room. But if I have to make my own man cave, it's gonna be mats and fucking pillows. That's all it's gonna be. Like, I don't want nothing. I don't need no chairs. Like, as it is in my living room, I sit on the floor all the time. I'm always stretching or I'm laying on my back, rolled around, whatever. I'm never sitting on the couch. Like, actually, I laid on the couch the other day and I was like, wow, this fucking thing's comfortable. I haven't been here for a while. Like, because, you know, it's all pillowy and shit. But still, I don't favor them. They bother my back, man. It's tough on the old girl. So I like being on the floor. And plus, you get shit done that way. Throw your leg over. You know, and then watch TV for a second. Throw it over the other side, you know?
Well, that's just another example, how to incorporate it into your daily life. If you're just going to plan it and watch TV, that's fine, but, like, that's a perfect time to stretch. And it's really hard. There is a stretch called the couch stretch. That's one of Kelly Starrett's best ones. But you only do it with your leg against the couch. It's actually really hard to stretch while you're on a couch. Like, I don't really know any stretches you can do when you're sitting in a couch. But
you're
the
in
floor,
a horrible position.
Yeah, the floor opens up a whole world of stretching possibilities, man. So, I prefer that myself.
People like it too. When I tell them, I was like, "You're allowed to like lay on your back on the floor and stretch." She goes, I never thought about that. She goes, I might want to try it. Like this girl I was talking, she goes, I might want to try that. I said, yeah. I said, well, at night when you're watching your show, because you watch soaps, that's what she does. She's like one of those older girls.
That's her thing. Yeah,
that's her thing. I was like, just say, hey, you're gonna watch soaps. You're gonna be on the floor. Throw one leg over, another leg over. Throw your arms, but you're laying on your back. You're not fucking kinking your back all the shit, sitting in your stupid ass recliner or whatever the hell it is. She goes, that's a great idea. Like, I don't know why she thought stretching would be so hard. I was like, fuck.
Dude,
Easy. Lay down.
That's crazy how boxed in we've gotten to that, and because that's totally the norm now. It's like it'd be weird to think about getting down on the floor and stretching. Like that really
yeah.
is. Outside of people who are just into working out and fitness, that's like an abnormal thing. Like, damn, what have we done to ourselves?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude, the stretching, and we've been talking about this a lot because we both done so much more in the last few years. And I mean, I've stretched pretty consistently, but that covers that. That's like saying I've worked out consistently. You know, there's a lot of different things I've done in that. A lot more emphasis on it in the last year, and then we've both been heavy into the mobility side of things for the last couple of years, just because it helps with so many workouts. And then when I did a little kickboxing, that just put a whole new focus because it exposed all sorts of areas I need more flexibility in. So I was thinking about it because on the last MMA show that Rogan did with Eddie Bravo, they're talking about stretching, and they made a point that I think is a pretty important one, man. That's almost anyone has the ability to be pretty flexible. Like, that's not, of course, every once in a while you just get someone who's really naturally flexible. They don't have to work for it. But almost anyone can be pretty flexible. You just have to stretch consistently and find the stretches that work for you. But it really is just putting in the time. And I gotta be honest, man, that shit's hard. Like, I would prefer to bust my ass on a workout versus sit in a deep stretch. Like, it sucks. You're just sitting there.
I mean, you don't feel like you're doing much. I mean, but like, see,
the progress
like me
is
and
slow,
you,
but also you can't deny, man, that shit just hurts, and it's not like, and you don't have anything to distract you from it. So, and it gets boring, man. You're sitting there in a stretch, whatever, stretching your hamstrings or something. Even if you're doing it the right way, it's still, to me, a workout is way more engaging than that. So it's harder for me to get
I've been doing a lot of it, man. I've been doing a lot of nights.
Well,
I'm like,
for the last for the last week, since, like I said, I was taking a light week on the workouts, I've been doing so much stretching.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And it's good because every once in a while when I'm working, doing less of the strength work for a few days, do more stretching and see all the areas that I made progress in and the areas that I need to make progress in. So, yeah, man, it's definitely doable. That's all I'm saying. For whatever you need it for, if you need it for jiu-jitsu or some other kind of workout, it's doable to make yourself pretty damn flexible. Like, and you don't just focus on the areas you need. You know what I'm saying? Like not everyone has to be like yogi flexible. That's not much good for most of us.
Plus,
like,
other
you don't
people
need to.
Like, I was gonna say, like, me and you, like, we got different flexibilities. Like, you're more flexible. Say, like, I have a little more flexibility in my bridge type of thing. You know what I mean? But you had more flexibility in your shoulders than I do. So I need to work on my shoulders. You need to work on your bridge a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you have to find with each other here. Like, I've realized, like, there's certain stretches that I do maybe 3 times a week. You know, and then there's stretches I do just about every day. You know, and that's because I know what I need to work on more. So when you get going on it, a lot of stuff is going to be tight, but as you consistently go through, you'll find that you won't have to work so hard to do this one because you're pretty flexible in that area. You know, you do something that keeps you that way. So to get that, you don't have to try so hard. You just have to consistently do these ones more, and they'll contribute. You know, it's been a lot better for me. Being out here, I just could see it more where I'm really taking certain stretches and really focusing a lot on them, and the other ones I just do whenever I feel like it. You know what I mean? And I'm still getting gains because I'm focusing so much on the other ones, but I'm not stressing about trying to get fucking 52 different stretches in. You know? I have like a basic 10. That's it.
You got to focus on the stuff you want to make the real progress in, for sure. And if you do that right, this is just another thing that I learned from the gymnastics bodies stuff that Coach Summers, is just that you focus on the right stretches, they'll have crazy carryover to a lot of other stuff. So you don't have to do all 50 stretches. Like you said, you do those 10, and then you're going to be at like maybe 95% in the other ones, whereas you could have just focused on that and wasted a lot of time, or at least not got the most bang for your buck that you could have on that. But yeah, man, I would say over the last 2 years, the stretching, and I use stretching and mobility work interchangeably. Honestly, I mean the same thing when I say that. That and breath work has been the most helpful thing for me in regards to just fitness that I'd probably overlooked at the first couple of years I was training. You know what I mean?
Breathing's
they're both so simple.
Huge.
They're not easy, but yeah, they're simple. Like,
they're definitely not easy. I mean, I have been doing it for a very long time, like always focused on my breath. I always got yelled at by my dad and my uncle when I was real young and started. So that like made a huge click in my head, but definitely moving to this higher elevation and stuff and like trying to prepare to move up here. And I started doing real like I did a couple of these deep breathing exercises and shit like as I was coming out here. And like before I was hiking a lot of elevations. I was trying to do the best I could, and with doing that and having breathing into my balls for fucking 5 minutes straight, you know what I mean?
Dude, that Elliot Hall stuff's some of the best advice he ever gave.
Hell yeah.
Breathe it.
And breathing right into those balls for 5 minutes, man. It just, and like trying to do a little bit of Wim Hof where I'm holding more oxygen, letting less out, breathing in more. It made it so it was like my workouts was much better. My stamina was so much more. My recovery, I felt like I could. When I caught my breath, like say I did something real hard, like I did a quick 20 burpees, you breathe in pretty hard after that. I could calm down a lot faster. Like a lot of shit changed for me when I started focusing on my breathing.
Sure,
and I always did, but I never, because I was getting prepared to move here, I never like challenged, like saw it like in that short little term. And man, it's so relevant. And I'm so glad that I did what I did, because honestly, when I got my oxygen levels shit tested from my fucking badass chiropractor down here, he couldn't believe it, and I think that's why I was able to like move here and just start working out, going on fucking 8-10 mile hikes, and I was all good. People were asking me if I had any fucking elevation shit going on. I said no. Not at all, not this time.
It makes a huge difference in all sorts of workouts, but exactly what you said, especially the recovery from the aerobic stuff, like in between Tabata interval or something, recovers so much faster. Like sometimes I'd even be surprised. I'd be like, oh, I'm only halfway through the first minute. I usually take a 2-minute break in between them, and like my breath is already recovered, slowed down, and that's gigantic, man, because that's basically how efficient your body's utilizing the oxygen. And it also, the extreme examples just go to show, man. This one, and I know we brought it up before, but Wim Hof can go run a marathon. Forget any of the cold stuff about it.
Without even working out.
Above the Arctic. So yeah, he doesn't run. Dude said he doesn't like to run. If you can just go out and run a marathon. And just my opinion, I don't think a marathon is that crazy. It's 26 miles. Like most people
but not if
could
you
do that
run.
if they had to. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying most people have the ability to, but if you have your breathing in check, you have the ability to do it comfortably. That's the difference. Like most people, like I said, you drop someone out in the woods, they have to go 26 miles. Like, listen, not even running it, but like maybe hard hiking. Most people could do that, even if they're not in shape, if they had to survive. Like, you forced your body into it for whatever reason. But if you have your breathing on point, you can do that comfortably without the training. So the thought, and a lot of people in the same kind of position of us are thinking when you hear an example like that, like a Wim Hof or something, is that, all right, so what happens if I do the breath work and I train, like, and I like to run? Then does it compound the effects? And it definitely helps. So yeah, man, I love that stuff. And the elevations one I've been curious about for forever now, man. I've talked about that a lot, and just to air it out, I'm gonna finally get to experience that soon, because I'm planning on coming out to the Denver area myself early this next year, 2018. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how
Hell
acclimate,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah, so I'm definitely excited for that. There's actually I don't know if I've mentioned it to you before, man, but so just to wrap up that breathing shit real quick, man. 3 things that definitely put me down that road more than anything else. The Wim Hof breathing, that was the first thing.
Yep.
And he's got, I mean, there's videos of that. He's all over the internet now, easy to find. I don't think last time I checked, he doesn't have any books or anything, but a lot of content out there. He's on podcasts also.
He's all over the fucking place, yeah.
There's a book.
Isn't he called the Iceman or something like that? Is he the Iceman?
Yeah, they call him the Iceman a lot. Like, there was an old Vice documentary. That's when he first got popular. But just Wim Hof is, and you'll find tons of stuff if anyone's interested. A book I picked up a while ago called The Oxygen Advantage just has a bunch of like very simple, easy to implement breathing exercises that it's been easy to keep doing since I read that book like at least a year ago, probably longer. And then another old book from some Russian guy called Let Every Breath. Those 3 totally changed my entire aerobic training completely just from doing those breath exercises. So that's where I would point people towards if they wanna get on any kind of breath work, because as much as, like, of course it all applies to while you're training, you know what I mean, focusing on how you breathe there, I found more success for myself personally doing the breath work, like the Wim Hof breaths, consistently, and then that just made everything better. It made me better throughout the day, and especially while I was training too.
Big time.
Man, that's one, I don't do it, definitely don't do it before every workout, but sometimes if I'm just feeling a little slow, you know, dragging ass, hit a couple rounds of that Wim Hof breathing, it'll give you a little kick in the ass. You'll be ready to train.
Hell, if you're even feeling a little, like, I used to use it back home when I felt a little fucking stressed out. Like, stressed out in the truck or something, man. Like, just start breathing. Yeah, it was almost like burning a joint. Like, you almost just forget about it. Like, whatever, because you're focused on breathing. You know, like, I would, like, literally start focusing on what I was doing and not giving a fuck of what the hell I was just thinking about.
Yeah, that's the beauty of breath right there. It really does bring you into the present real fast, especially if it's some, like, focused breath exercise like that. But, dude, it's hard to take a guy like Wim seriously because he tosses out so many benefits. He's like, it'll change your stress. It'll increase your ability to run. Up your immune system.
He gets it going. Like, he starts wrapping them out.
It probably will have an effect on all those things, but my advice is figure out what it is actually useful for. So, like, I figured out that doing that breath work is useful for me before a workout. So, like, that's how I use it most of the time. You know what I mean? It's hard to do something just based on, it's going to do a million good things, but, like, that's hard to quantify.
It's capable of doing a million good things, but it's very bio-individual for what those things are.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that's like, it's somebody needs to find a word that wraps that up so that they can say it and people understand that, okay, it does all these things, but it may only do a couple of them for me, or maybe one of them for me. You know what I mean? But it can do all. Because I feel like there's out here, I hear it a lot, because there's a lot of claims of shit, people starting to try to get, like, new types of CBD oils, and accidentally claiming fucking cures cancer or some shit, and, like, goes down, like, just random things like that out here. And it's just because people, for one thing, are way over fucking sensitive. It's a natural thing. You know what I mean? You can't have any control of what it does. So when people are saying it can heal it, they literally now they have to say, like, I don't even want to go into it, but it's like a fucking paragraph now, the way they have to let people know about how CBD can help you.
They oversell it on, like, so the thing
it's ridiculous.
That's a perfect example, man, because there is true that there's some research that CBD might be good for certain sorts of cancer and all that. I don't have cancer myself. So does that mean it's still good for me or not good for me at all? Probably somewhere in the middle. Like what I hear most commonly from the sources I trust, that shit will help you sleep and maybe through that enhance recovery a little. That's how it's going to be useful to the normal person who's not treating a disease or anything. And
well, like you just said it though. You just changed it all when you said the resources that you trust. People don't even have fucking resources. They just want to go off of literally what you say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the problem with the news nowadays, man. You get a headline that says CBD cures cancer or some bullshit like that. Like, well, it doesn't even say what type of cancer. Like, what type of cancer? There's like a million different types of cancer. What are we talking about here? Like, just apply like baseline critical thinking to it, and it's easy to sort through that shit. But yeah, man, have you been using that though since you've been out there? Any CBD stuff?
Yeah, actually, I get some. I got a friend there that sells it and stuff, so I've been getting it from him pretty cheap because it's actually pretty expensive out here. Honestly, it's just as expensive as the fucking oils, if not more. And I've been taking a lot, and I really enjoy it. I think it actually throws a little extra buzz on, like not by itself by any means. It just kind of tastes good.
Anything when you take it by yourself? Because some people say they just
when
feel
I take
relaxed,
it by myself,
but that's probably some placebo.
It's just kind of just the smoking. I mean, that's all it is. I was totally sober a few times. I tried it out. I mean, the only thing I got was really taste. But when I smoked them together, like I do, a little hit of oil and then a little hit of CBD, it definitely came on heavier. It came on like an indica, like a strong indica. When even though my oil was a sativa, like it definitely changed it, and I knew it did. So I've been enjoying that little combo now. I do a little CBDs with my fucking THC with some tinctures, like it's
I've heard
stuff.
heard a few times they're more effective when done together. But I would like what I'd personally like to try myself is just say a straight CBD tincture, no active effects.
Yeah, that's
just
what
to
this
see if
is.
it does stuff like helps me sleep better, something like that. Because you can't get that in states like in the Northeast here, but you're gonna pay.
Send it. You can send it too.
Is.
I didn't realize you can send it anywhere. Like they don't have
CBD
restrictions.
products, you can see them in stores. It's basically under the same category as hemp. Like, and if it's under that, I think it's 0.03 THC or some bullshit like that, then it's not regulated in the same way. So you can't get them, but you're gonna pay like $180 for a little bottle of CBD tincture or some bullshit. I've never bothered to try it just on the cost. It didn't seem worth it, but yeah, I think that would be fun to experiment with because. And that's really the kind of thing if someone wants to try, like, getting some medicinal benefit, go for and they're just not interested in anything else about it, go for something like a CBD. That's all it is. That's just what we have studied. This is probably gives you the most medicinal benefits, so probably go try that one if you want to improve your sleep or get rid of some arthritis or something like that. That's what I do most about it.
And we're talking about this arthritis and the CBDs and stuff, and like the biggest thing the CBDs do is they're an anti-inflammatory. And for some reason, just this clicked to me, so I might as well bring this all up right now. But other than having my shake and I have my Whole Foods, it's all the same that I have been doing for a while now. I really like it. It works well for me. And my shakes I was messing with, I got that down. But the other thing that's been very consistent now for about 3 months, other than the week I went back to Vermont, is I've been smoking CBDs and I've been drinking that Fucoidan. Both those are anti-inflammatories. And you know how you were just saying you had joint aches and stuff? I've been doing a lot of shit, and like jiu-jitsu, sometimes we'll get a little reefy on each other's bucket joints and stuff.
For sure, man.
And honestly, I've been still recovering. Like, my shoulders had that issue. We have been talking about it for a while. I stopped benching stuff. And it's been getting better. It's been recovering. I've been able almost to reach up, touch the back of my head again from behind like I used to. Shit's starting to happen. And I'm working out harder. So I have to definitely, I feel, contribute some of that percentage to the anti-inflammatory benefits that I'm taking in my system right now.
That stuff will definitely help, man. And just to be clear, what I was saying with the little aches and pains and stuff, I was saying things that had built up over the 3 months of training. So it's not how I felt at the beginning of that 90-day training cycle. But there's what you're saying is still totally valid, and that's probably the most commonly reported thing that I hear from people taking CBDs is it just helps with joint pain. Like, I've heard a lot of old people using creams and stuff on their hands, and it really helps them. So
arthritis,
that's the kind of thing that you want to get the word out on, because that's just an easy and super low risk. I mean, there's 0 chance of any side effect on it. Someone just trying that, and
that's my thing that I keep throwing at people. There's no side effect. Hold on. You take this for your arthritis, but you won't try this that has no side effects.
Well, that's the thing. It's just a mindset, man, because you got to think about it the same way. If you're picking up like some Badger Balm or something, like they make a couple sore muscle and
I like that.
For achy joint rubs that works okay. Works better for some people than others. Just it should be in the same category as stuff like that. Like just something for people to help ease their pain. Because shit, man, if that's the one thing we need to fix health-wise in this country right now. We need to figure out how to get people to deal with all the pain they have going on. And I'm talking just physical, like people. Dude, if you eat fast food every day, you have a bunch of sugar, all that, of course your body's going to be aching and shit all day.
You're inflamed as a motherfucker. I mean, I wish that was shown. You know what I mean? I wish people that ate like that, like, were literally inflamed, like would swell right up like a fucking balloon and be like, that's why you're in pain. I mean, they kind of do, but it takes too long. Yeah, but it takes too long. I mean, literally,
that's the problem.
Like, this is what's going on, dumbass. Like, you're like kind of like Willy Wonka when that girl ate that fucking piece of gum and told her not to. You know what I mean?
Turn into a blueberry.
Like that. Yeah, turn into a fucking berry.
That would be helpful if it happened instantly instead of like over years and years. But yeah, man, because we need to, and we've gone on this so many different times. But I think it's because there's so many different variables that go into it. And do something to cut off instead of treating it on the back end with painkillers. Got to treat it on the front end with food and stuff like maybe CBD for some people, things like that to stop all this this cycle from going on, because it's eating us up in a lot of different ways.
Teach people how to be human again. Fucking A.
Yeah,
Stop being
that would help, man.
Synthetic fucking micro bodies out there. Whatever the fuck you call
We're not ready to go full robot yet, man. We're on the edge. I know we have a lot of cool stuff out there. We're not ready to go full robot.
No.
Like, still,
you gotta still be involved with nature, people. You gotta still take in that nature, fucking absorb it, use it. Can't be just doing the synthetic fucking robot fucking factory.
We're still on the primate
food.
side of thing, man. And that reminds me, I got one for you. I think I probably told you about this in the past, man. You got to read, or actually this would be way better to listen to as an audiobook, Sapiens. This book, it's so cool, yeah. I'm sure you've heard it referenced by Rogan or someone else. I don't even remember
I have.
heard about it originally.
Familiar, yeah.
I've been hearing about it. I read it a while ago, and I tossed the book to a couple friends. Not a single person who's read it so far hasn't loved it, because it just breaks down how we got to this, the modern type of human that we are now, and in a clear way. So yeah, it's kind of a long book just to go through. It'd be perfect audio book. And shit, man, I'm already thinking about that, because I'm planning on driving out to Colorado when I make my move. I'm gonna have to load up on podcasts or audio books.
Yeah, that's
man.
for
Get
sure.
Me through. How long's that drive? Like 20, 25 hours or something?
From Vermont to Colorado?
Yeah, what'd you do it in
30.
last time?
Is it, we
30?
did. It's 30. Yeah, it's 30 minimum. I mean, it's like 29 and a half
yeah,
hours.
and that's if you get lucky, you don't hit traffic and all
yeah,
that.
like me and Alicia, we did it straight through. We did exactly from Colorado Springs right to New Jersey shore in 31 hours.
You know, man, here's some glass
That's
half
straight
bullshit.
through, though. That's like
I bet I'll be
fucking
able
He-Man.
I bet I can catch up on all the Rogan episodes, man. Hit 10 of them back to back.
You almost have to turn it down. Like, I've done that, man. Like, Rogan, I love the dude. I love everything he does. I love learning and stuff. But man, like, I was making a fucking field for somebody, like popping a bunch of stumps and shit, putting in a pond, and I was out in the dozer for fucking hours on end. And after 2 episodes straight, I had to like get rid of Rogan, man. Like, it was just
100%, man. Even as big of a fan as I am, yeah, even Rogan's podcast will get hella old. Usually after one long episode, but 2, yeah, man, that's it. What I honestly do on drives is I usually bump back and forth between music and podcasts, and then of course just nothing, just cruise and think. But yeah, we were talking about this before.
Guy for a lot. I do that a lot. Like I can probably, like, when we drove across country this past time back for Thanksgiving, Alicia was like, "What the fuck don't you have the radio on?" Like, she kept waking up because there was no other noise besides the car. I drove like 8 hours straight with no radio just because. I don't know, I'm
real
thinking,
meditative, man.
Whatever, yeah, I'm just in the zone, man, just going. And that's how I actually drive a lot, I just enjoy it, honestly.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for it, and I still don't know. I was thinking that I might really downsize the amount of stuff I'm bringing out and fly out, but I decided to drive, and I don't know if I'm going to rent a car or take out my old truck, but either way I'll be driving. I'm excited, man, to see that part of the country. I think it'll be fun. Even I'm sure it'll be boring too if you get the good with the bad. And if there's anywhere cool I can work in on that trip on the way out, I'll probably do that too, because I don't have any kind of tight timeline.
Yeah, you gotta take your time. Yeah, I definitely take your time, and like that's something I wanted to say to you too about like your truck and that rental car. Like, for as much as you're gonna rent that rental car for, you want to make sure that you can weigh the two sides there. When you get out here, you're gonna have to get rid of that rental car. If you put a little bit money in your truck to like make sure it's gonna just get you out here, you have a chance of having a rig for a little bit and not having to worry about fucking trying to find your way around. You know what I mean? To get around.
Yeah, well, I hear you on that for sure, and that's actually the way I'm leaning. But where I'm looking to touch down, towards Boulder. But what would be optimal, and this just depends where I find a good spot, would be like right in between Boulder and Colorado, and that's and one of the reasons I'm leaning towards that, besides it looks like a cool area, because then it gives me access to both cities. It'll be super easy to get around there. So yeah, that's the trade-off, man. Like, if I have my preference, if you just gave me pick like your perfect place anywhere to live, it's gonna be out in the woods somewhere. Downside of living out in the woods anywhere that you might go is going to be a lot less convenient to get around. So that's the kind of trade-off that, like I said, as much as I would prefer, being in the hills of Vermont, I think that trade-off is worth it to be closer to a city just for the convenience. And I've lived in both. Like I've mentioned in the past, I've grown up here in Vermont, lived in Pittsburgh for a while, and in some various sized towns around New England too. So yeah, I think it's just how it fits with your own lifestyle at the time. What kind of environment you want to put yourself in, but it's worth thinking about, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I know that truck needs a little hashing out on it.
Shit, man, I love my old truck, man. Yeah, it's a piece, but I really do. That's probably my favorite vehicle I've ever had, and I've had a lot of shitty old cars at this point, but yeah, I like that one. If it's running well enough, I'll take that. If not, like I said, I'll probably get a rental. But I'm definitely thinking it through, more inclined to drive just in my situation. I've moved a lot over the last few years. Every time I move and then do the exact same thing this time, just sort out my shit, man. There's no reason to have a bunch of stuff that you don't regularly use or ever need. No reason at all. So you definitely learned that lesson hauling stuff out in the trailer, and I'm sure if you move again in the future, it'll stay there, man.
Yeah, like, I've always been that way though. I'm one of those guys.
Prioritize.
Yeah, I like to go through and cleanse. Like, it's like a thing for me. Like, honestly, I never have had very much of anything other than a gym. Gym has always been my biggest and my most of anything. Other than that, I've only had a bedroom of stuff. That's it. Like, not even a full bedroom either. Like a bed and 5 boxes.
Man, at this point in your life, why would you have a bunch of other shit? Like,
yeah.
Maybe in a couple years, if you have a house and fill a bunch of stuff that you need in the house, it makes more sense. But I think that's just an easy one now to collect way too much shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to right now, I could load everything up on my fucking 3/4 ton pickup and everything that I own, other than my gym. That's the only thing that's fucking that's it's a little heavy.
For sure. It's another thing is just a spectrum on, man. It makes me think of that guy Steve Maxwell, who's he's a jiu-jitsu guy, man. You should look up some of his stuff. He hasn't been around on. I haven't heard him interviewed in a while, but he's a pretty well-known trainer, and he's an old jiu-jitsu guy. He does seminars all around, but this dude, and he's like 60 or something, straight, just one bag, travels around the world giving jiu-jitsu seminars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's obviously like that's like the full minimalist end of it. Personally, not what I want to do with myself, but like for a lot of people, I think that's a move that might do them a lot of good. Like if you really just want to travel around the world, yeah, cut your shit down to minimal. You know what I mean? If you're not looking to land anywhere, for sure, do that. I mean, if you can, at least. And reality is, almost anyone can if they really want to. So,
hey, yeah, that's the other thing too. Anybody can do anything if you really want to. You know what I mean?
We were talking before. Yeah, how cool it is that you can go anywhere you want to, hop a plane, a bus, whatever, a car. If you have, it's not quite that easy in practical terms, you know what I mean? If someone really does have their whole life somewhere, yeah, it is harder, but what we just hit on, having less of the unnecessary possessions will take those restrictions way down. Yeah, way down, man.
And, like, I can't tell you how many people, like, I met parents of somebody, of this girl, her and her husband there, and they weren't married when they first started this, but they just, right out of high school, man, started traveling. And they were poor, they were homeless, but they were able to travel. And they traveled, like, all around the fucking world. All over Europe and shit, all over Asia, made their way back across the country, from the East Coast over to the West Coast where they started. And they just ended up turning it around so that now they do this fucking crazy thing about where they travel and the places they've been, and they're making thousands and thousands of dollars just traveling around and, like, literally showing people, like, this is what we do here, this is how it is. Like, they made a thing of what they do. Like, it took them a few years. They were homeless and stuff, but they figured it out, you know what I mean? And they lived their dream the whole way. The whole entire way, all the way through the stages of hardship and everything. They lived that dream until now. They didn't know it was going to become this. So it's fucking possible to do anything. Like, that was a good story that I just heard recently.
Yeah, that's
of
a cool
people that
one,
were traveling.
man.
It is.
And yeah, I've definitely seen similar stories. And as much as, like, personally, I don't have the travel bug that bad. There's certainly places I would like to go, but it seems like a lot of people do. They really would like to just travel around. Cut the bullshit and just go for it. Like, you really can, as you were just saying. There's a lot of, like, very reasonable ways to travel around. Man, Rogan's homie Ari Shaffir did it. And he's obviously a pretty successful comedian at this point, has a lot more flexibility and money and all that, but he broke it all down in his podcast, which it's one of those ones I listen to occasionally. I think what's Ari Shaffir's Skeptic Tank is the name of it. You just search Ari Shaffir, you'll find it. He's he's the Jewish comedian who pops up on Rogan every so often. Hilarious guy.
Jewish Canadian comedian.
No, comedian. Yeah.
Just
no,
okay.
No, I don't think so. I think he's.
I thought there was one out there that was like a Canadian something.
Oh, I'm sure there's a few Canadians.
Like he's like a bunch of racists, so he can pick on like 4 or 5 fucking different races anyways, because he's like 3 of them.
Like that are funny, man. Yeah, I think Russell Peters, he's a Canadian comedian. He's had on a few times, but back to Ari, he went on that like a 6-month trip, all just to random places. I don't think he game planned it at all. Just went and only ended up spending like $6,000 or something. And that's the guy who could have spent more. He's just cheap. You know, I mentioned his background. Anything else on that, but yeah, I just had to. But yeah, he just proved the point, and that's with the ability. He probably could have spent a lot more money and done fine. Like, I mean, that guy, he's got a show on Comedy Central. Like, he's doing pretty well as a comedian. He's got good specials out there, probably on Netflix. I don't know. I don't have Netflix at the moment, but yeah, he proved the point better than anyone, at least that I know of, that you really can just pick up and travel. And he's like staying in hostels and shit like that. But if you want to just do it and go for it, do that kind of traveling thing, and people have been doing that forever, man. That's the way to do it. Just, you know, do it cheaply and do it intelligently and go wherever the hell you want.
It's a little dirty, but, you know, it's good. I mean, the hostels, we were gonna, when we went to Amsterdam first time, we were gonna try staying in a couple of the hostels, you know, for a few nights here and there, just to travel around and be able to go different cities.
Amsterdam hostels, yeah, that's probably
rough.
Woo!
Couldn't do it. We couldn't do it.
More of a hotel guy myself, man. If you gotta do it, you gotta do it. You know where I want to go, man? And I just keep hearing about it from all sorts of random places. I want to hit New Zealand. That looks like a badass place, man. Everything there. It seems like, nothing against Australians, it seems like an even cooler little, like, mini version of Australia. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I don't know. Everybody keeps over here telling me that I need to go to Thailand. Like, everybody.
Come on, we already planned that one out, man. We got a Thailand trip in the works.
Yeah,
that was when you were back here in Thanksgiving. I don't remember the timeline. I think I gave us like 3 years or some shit. Yeah, we're gonna go to Thailand and do one live from Thailand. Live from Bangkok. That's what the episode will be. Yeah, I would love to go to Thailand.
Dude, we're gonna make that happen too. I totally forgot we did that. I gotta go back and listen to that episode.
Absolutely should make it. I don't remember exactly what we said on it, but yeah, the Thailand trip is going down. I'm all about that. I would love to get to Thailand.
Oh yeah.
Shit, man. Maybe we'll go to one of those world famous Muay Thai camps. You know, break our shins on some palm trees, whatever they do out there.
Man, they're serious. Barely walk. Our knuckles are bleeding everywhere. Yeah, that'd be a good time.
Yeah, that is the thing, and it's funny. It's kind of like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, man, how it's popped up. Like, and I wouldn't say Muay Thai is quite as dominant as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in terms of just how effective it is for grappling versus how effective it is for striking. But like, Muay Thai really is, along with normal Western boxing, like the most effective way to strike. And you get the top fighters in the world go train in Thailand when they really want to up their game. Like, you know, it is the same way. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like, it's obviously expanded all over outside of Brazil at this point, but that's still like the origins of where that whole movement came from, and you still get those real killers coming. Those Brazilians, I mean, they're already known for it, like the high level black belts coming out of there. Thailand's, I would say, even still more focused. Like, you just get these crazy kickboxers coming out of Thailand, man. And actually, I don't know if you were, that you ever saw any of this in any of the times you were over there, but before Muay Thai really exploded and, like, took over the kickboxing world, the best kickboxers, and still a lot of them are still coming from here, but I think Thailand's kind of taken the front runner spot, but a lot of them are Dutch from the Netherlands.
Oh yeah,
they have crazy strong kickboxing.
We met a few guys because we were kind of the bigger guys, being Americans and being thick and wide like we are, and they all thought we were wrestlers, so they would come over and just talk to us as if we had shit in common, and it was pretty cool. A few of them there, like were training there that came from like Ireland and shit, and we're training there.
Need to do? Sorry to cut you off. This just hit me. For sure, we need to go to one of those old school, like kickboxing arenas they have in Thailand and see a legit Muay Thai fight. That's what we're doing when we're in Thailand, for sure.
Dude, that's gonna be. I could just see it now, like back in the day, fucking ring in this like old barn or something. They're in there fighting, like that's.
Dude, they're serious with it over there, and it's hilarious. Just they have the whole, like, there's a whole culture around it, just same as it is with jiu-jitsu, man. So that was fun to experience for sure.
Dude, all this stuff reminds me of, like, because my dad was just telling me some stories about the cockfights he was watching down there in Dominican. When he was on the islands there, they were just like, that's what they have to do. So there's like a barn, and you got like a cockfight outside. You got 2 cockfights inside. There's about a couple. It's almost. He said there's like had to be a couple hundred people there. Everybody's fucking yelling and screaming, and there's cocks fighting, and he's just like, what the fuck?
Dude, and I gotta say,
and it goes on every single night. Like it's like a giant thing. Like they have a fucking big banner out front. It's pretty intense. It's cool.
Personally, doesn't rub me the wrong way at all. Like, roosters are little shits. I've had roosters attack my feet multiple times. Like, of course they want to fight each other. I know it's easy.
Where I killed one. It came at my face. I grabbed it by its fucking leg, and I just whipped it against the side of the barn. Fucking broke its neck.
Which, like, that's tough for the rooster, but
before then.
Yeah, like I said, every time I ran in one, they're mean little shits, man. So it's no surprise to me. I've never seen one of those fights live that roosters go at it like that. Like it is, I don't know. I just don't see it on the same level as, like, you hear about like dog fighting, the Michael Vick thing. That seems like it probably crosses the line a little. Even though it's just even though I'm not a huge dog person, it's like, all right, man, that's kind of fucked up. But the roosters, like, I don't know, those little fucking dinosaur-looking things. Like,
did you see this? Oh, I don't think you've seen it, but Rogan, because I had the Facebook chick going on. Rogan put up a post of this fucking chicken, like this cat was fucking with this mouse, right? And, like, I don't know why the cat didn't get the mouse, but this chicken was like, fuck this, and just, like, ran over, pecked the shit out of the mouse, and started eating the fucking thing, walking away. And the cat's just
little
like,
savages.
What the hell? And he's like, I didn't realize how crazy fucking chickens were till I had them, whatever he wrote, it's pretty cool.
Dude, it's the truth. I think this is the difference. I was just breaking it down in my head, why the dogs would be so much worse, because the dogs, you got to train them to do that. Like, pit bulls are super sweet dogs if they're not trained to fight. Like, they're always great. Chickens, I feel like you put 2 roosters near each other, they're gonna scrap, man, no matter what. You don't train them to do that. They're just doing it.
It's just not right. Like, I can't believe all those fucking Chinese people over there, Asia, whoever the fuck they are, eating those dogs, man. Like, in the same time I saw that that fucking chicken thing going on, right? Like, I saw that chicken thing going on that Rogan posted, and then, like, I kept strolling down. I don't know if Rogan posted it, like, it was fucked up, or somebody liked that, because it was fucked up. That it was, nobody was happy about this post. Somebody was literally just had a campfire, and they had a fucking puppy on a string, and they were just cooking the fucking dog over the campfire. So, that's still alive.
I agree with you, but 2 things, man. One, I gotta know, does it taste good? That makes huge. I just saying that does make a difference. Also,
I know, but it was a fluffy, like, poodle dog. That was cooking over a fire.
That sounds sick, and not the good kind of sick. Like, that sounds nasty. But think about it. The one I keep hearing more and more is pigs are as smart as dogs, so how can you justify eating them? One, I'm on my buddy's farm all the time, and he's feeding the pigs and stuff. They definitely don't seem as smart as dogs, just from my observation. Maybe they are. They don't seem like it to me. Maybe you gotta train them or something. But if that, like, say we'll give them that one. Give the hippies that one, that the pigs are on a level playing field with dogs. If you had someone break that down and you believed it, would you stop eating pigs? No more bacon, man. No more pork. Come on. What's the difference, man? It's the first question I asked. Pigs are real tasty. That's the difference. So I'm just saying. I wouldn't go out of my way to eat dog, but when in Thailand, man. That's all I'm saying. When in Thailand.
Oh my God. I may have. I don't know. We ate some fucking meat that we don't know what it was. It could have been horse. We were thinking it was horse meat in London.
That was the other one I was going to ask you, because they do that in Canada. I wouldn't have any issue eating horse. I don't really like horse.
Yeah, I didn't. We wouldn't have any issue, but there was also, like, because it was hard to break out, everything's in different languages and shit. Like, the menus, they don't have American menu in fucking
that's tough.
over there. So we're over there and we're trying to sound out.
Was this a floor restaurant, too? Were you eating horse were you sitting on the floor at this restaurant eating horse?
No, it wasn't the floor one. No, but this one I do remember. It was in England, and it was because my aunt brought us there, because it had, like, some fucking crazy ribs and shit. But we decided to try this meat as an appetizer, and I swear it was not fucking horse. I think I ate dog before. I think I ate dog.
All right, so
but it was.
I hear you. I'm not judging. What
it was tender,
like.
But it was like. It was odd. It was odd. It was like weird. I don't know how to say it. It was like a gamey pork almost or something. It was odd.
I'll bring this one up. I don't know if I've got your opinion on this before, because I heard someone talking about how fucked up it was to eat lamb, and like it's not super common, not as common as cows around here. A lot of sheep for sure. Like it's not uncommon at all.
A lot of people eat fucking sheep. I've noticed.
So sheep, when if you're gonna eat the meat, like you're not using the sheep for wool or milk or something, then you're gonna eat lamb. And I've heard this might be wrong, but the only reason I've heard is that the mature sheep's like full grown, the meat's just too gamey and like stringy. Yeah. It's just not good meat, so that's why you eat the lamb. I was like, man, that's kind of weird, like eating the baby animal. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, they're only allowed to kill for like seed. Like Tom Berg only grew he only had his sheep for, I think it was less than 6 months. Maybe it was 6 months.
So I'll admit, man, I heard that, and this was probably like 2 years ago. I heard that, and I'm like, man, that is kind of weird. And it made me like, I don't eat lamb a lot. It's just not something I keep in my diet. But like, all right, man, I'd had it at restaurants and stuff. I'm like, probably not feeling to eat much lamb because that's weird. Then after that, I heard someone break down how healthy lamb is, and that flipped me right back, man. Now I could give a fuck, because the other thing is, that's how most animals are slaughtered. Cows are not. They don't let cows get to live to senior citizen age.
No, they only allow 2 years old. Like exactly. I don't know what it is out here, but it's 2 years old. Yeah.
But you see, that's just a weird mental game
you gotta
play
like,
with yourself.
Hit on a big key. Like some people always ask me, like when you drive across, like there's a certain road that we have in New Hampshire, fucking right there on Route 12, where you can look over and you can see all the veal. Like that's all going to be veal steaks. You know what I mean? All those little cows in those little huts that have no space to grow. That's what they're doing. They're not growing. They're just putting a little meat on so they can fucking eat them within like 2 or 3 months old. Not even sometimes.
Look, I'm sure most people are aware of this to some degree, but just for anyone who isn't at all, and because we have a lot of farms around here. Like I said, my best friend has a little dairy farm, so I've spent a lot of time in that, seeing everything right on the ground level, how it goes down. So any vegans can cover their ears on this one. What do you do with animals? What a farmer does when you say you're growing pigs, like I talked about before, pigs to slaughter for bacon and all that other good stuff. Said you don't let the pig just sit around as long as possible. Like a decent farmer is of course going to treat the animal well, but what you're doing is you're just trying to get it to slaughtering level. Same with chickens. Like you go chickens till they're ready to kill and eat. You're not letting them sit around and wasting feed and stuff. Well, farms can't afford that shit. All you're trying to do is you're growing it to produce food.
Beef them up.
Yeah, in my opinion, a decent farmer is of course going to treat the animal good up until then. But what I'm saying is, when I initially heard that about lamb, it kind of put like a negative connotation in my head that was totally my fault, because I just hadn't thought it through. It makes no sense. Not only is it the same as other animals, it's it's all on a spectrum, man. Again, I'm not trying to go out and eat some ancient old sheep that's about to die anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want the good quality of meat, and that's just me. So as much as it's a little weird when you heard it broke down in that way, like that veal, lamb, whatever it is.
To
But
some people, I bet it's pretty hard to take like that. You know what I mean? When you talk about
definitely.
it, like it's just better nutrient stuff. And if you want to live, I mean, if you were living out in the fucking wild, what would you do? What would you? I mean, yeah, you might probably get the old one once in a while because it's a slow pack, but you're going after them young bitches. You know what I mean? You're going after the little fucking sheeps or the fucking baby cattle, whatever the fuck it is that you can catch, because that's going to be tasty. It's going to be tender.
Yeah. Look,
you know
man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I was just getting soft for a minute and thinking, oh, like I wouldn't want to kill the baby animal, but when you actually think it through, that makes no sense, man. I mean, it doesn't at all. Like, and there's a debate to be had, man. As much as I'm fully on the meat eater side of things, it's still worth thinking about both sides of something. I love to hear a real passionate vegan break down their argument. I've never heard one that's convinced me yet, but still, you know what I mean? I like to get the contrasting opinions on stuff, and that's exactly what I did with myself with the lamb thing. Now, I'm not going to go out of my way to get it, but if I'm at a restaurant and the lamb looks good, I got no problems.
Yeah.
None at all. Yeah. Like that. And as I was saying, I'm definitely not going to look for some dog, but if I was in another country where that was normal.
You gotta, when in Thailand, do like the Thailanders.
Yeah, man. That's funny. But
I don't know if I could sit down to, like, you know how they come out with the turkey? If they came out with, like, a dog on a platter, I don't know if I could handle that. Like that.
And I think I'm with you on that, man.
I don't want. Like, no.
I don't want a full roast terrier with like an apple in its mouth out on a big plate. Not into that, but I'm just saying small steps, man. You got to adjust to different cultural norms.
A couple ribs. Give me a couple ribs out here.
Ribs would be a good way to start, man. For sure. And let's be real, this is just another side of another perspective on this whole thing. You're eating any kind of normal meat, and by that I'm talking about, burgers, sausage, whatever, lunch meat. You have no idea what you're getting in there anyway. You might be getting rat, you might be getting all sorts of stuff ground up.
There's definitely
none of that's
certain
real
percentage of
now,
rat.
So
I mean, they give you.
There's actually,
I don't know if
there's
people
guidelines.
know.
Yeah, the FDA
there's
has
like
them.
a
It's
certain
like 2%
amount of fucking like shit.
Rat. Yeah.
Rats and rat shit in our food, like in the fucking nation. Like, it's crazy. I can't believe how much is in cereals. Like, I showed little Bobby how much rat shit's in cereal. Like, and the kid's like, that's not true. Like, he got mad defense because it was disgusting. Like, there's so much rat shit you eat in cereal. It's crazy.
Dude, that's hilarious because it makes me think of that old study that was going around too. This is a different thing, but they had rats and they fed them Captain Crunch. Then they fed them the box of the Captain Crunch, and the ones eating the box ended up living longer. And maybe that's just because there wasn't any rat shit in the box. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, that's too much.
That's tough, man.
Oh man, I feel bad for all the Captain Crunch boxes I ate. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, fortunately, Captain Crunch was never my cereal of choice. I was a Lucky Charms guy when I was a kid.
It was for a little bit until my roof of my mouth couldn't take it anymore. Like, I had like a little stroke of that there with Captain Crunch. But I was a
Hold up, man. You might. That's funny you bring it up like that, because I've heard it's a different podcast that I like, The Fighter and the Kid. He was talking about how he was eating Brazil nuts and he just had a real mild allergy to them. And most people eating a couple Brazil nuts to be healthy, you get your selenium and all that other good stuff. He said he was eating those and he kept getting a little sore throats, like not sick, and wasn't connecting it. And then finally, dude went to his dentist, and the dentist was like, "Did you burn the hell out of the inside of your mouth? Like, it's all inflamed and red." And he was like, "No, I definitely have not. Like, haven't been drinking any hot coffee or anything. Definitely didn't burn my mouth." And he was like, "Are you eating a nut you might be allergic to?" And he was like, "Well, then just so happened this was an easy one to figure out, because the guy's mom was allergic to Brazil nuts." He was just increasing the allergic response and just making it worse and worse. So maybe you had some Captain Crunch.
I mean, I'm grateful for it, man. I didn't eat them long because I remember, like, I really liked them because a whole bunch of other kids liked them. I don't know. I tried them. I was like, oh, these are great. And then I was like, my teeth, back of my teeth are fucking killing me.
Dude,
roof of my mouth, like my throat where
that's
I swallowed.
such a good lesson from your childhood right there, because that hasn't happened to me in years unless I actually like burned my mouth on some coffee or tea. But
yeah.
I remember back when I ate like shit when I was growing up, every once in a while I would feel like my tooth just hurts, or like my mouth feels like it's burned. It's probably just because you ate some absolute shit food that had some weird reaction, man.
Well, that's even happened with me over time. Like, I found out, like, certain things that were giving me issues. Like, for some reason, whenever I had carrots in my salad, I had fucking hiccups. And then next thing you know I can't even eat, like, a raw carrot if I want to. I fucking start hiccuping. My throat
Can you eat them cooked, though?
I can eat them cooked all day long.
Yeah,
so there's something on them that I can't eat when they're raw. I don't know what the fuck it is. I never looked into it, but because I never needed to, honestly. My throat, I fucking get hiccups start swelling up.
It's just a good thing to notice, because carrots are a real common one like that. Some people do. Rob Wolf was talking about this when he was on Rogan. He said he does fine with a couple raw carrots, where a lot of people that'll mess with them. Like there must be something in them.
But the thing is too, like when I was younger, I used to eat raw carrots like they're going out of style. Like my dad, he always was a big juicer. So there was like I don't know if this had something, like this is what I do contribute a lot of my issues now to what I did back then. And I was eating very healthy back then. I was eating way too many carrots. I'm allergic to carrots. Now, I didn't tell you this last time, but I just recently, it hasn't been recent, it's been over a chain of months, but I didn't bring it up because I wanted to have this backing up. So now for the past 5 months, I've done tests on beef on myself. And I've had it, so I went 5 weeks no beef at all. Then I add just good grass-fed, all that shit, just fucking beef, and just actually burger, thinking that's going to even be easier for me to digest. And so far, 3 tests of this. Every single time I eat it, I have 4 days of back pain. I'm stiffer than shit, and my digestive system is crap, and it's just from eating the beef. That quick. Man, it's like
that's interesting. Maybe you got bit by one of those Lone Star ticks, and you got that red meat allergy, man. You need to pay attention to that. But that is very interesting.
I can't even take in but I can eat
what
bison,
have you been eating?
Not have an issue. I can eat elk, not have an issue. If I eat any type, I even said fuck it, and I bought regular beef, like their fucking store beef, because I wanted to try it in the middle one.
Absolutely.
So that one, all 3 different kinds of beef and the quality that I tried did the same exact thing. Fucked my back right up. Like, it really irritates the piss out of me.
Dude, that's very interesting, and that's a great one to catch, because I'm assuming you would be eating a lot of that just to get it's a good protein source if you.
I ate a lot more chicken and turkey and ham and shit than I ever have before. That's for sure.
The only thing I would suggest is try, just as a final round of testing, get a big old steak with the bone in it, like a T-bone or something. Throw that on the grill, cook, like a good and solid.
Okay, yeah.
And just to try it and see if that
I'll do it again in another 4 weeks. I got 4 weeks to go. I'll be fucking totally cleared out, and I'll do it one more time with like a good quality bone.
That's an interesting one, man. I wonder what it could be in the beef that's getting to you. But that,
it
regardless,
literally targets the same exact spot right in my back, and it makes it so like right now, I can lay on the ground on my stomach and arch my head so it almost touches my toes. I can't even get in that position when my back's inflamed. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even put my arms up straight and sit up with my stomach on the ground. That's how fucking bad my back gets. And I just blow it out my ass. Like, all my digestive goes to shit.
That's crazy, man. But it's just like using whey protein or not. Some people it works great. It's one of the best proteins out there. Some people it's terrible. Fucks them all up. So that's interesting, man. Yeah, I'll definitely want to hear how the final round goes. But say you eat the steak, get the exact same result, even though you don't know exactly what it is, and it might, like, who knows, you probably have to get all sorts of weird tests and bullshit done to isolate exactly what's causing it.
I looked into it. There's so many tests to figure that out. Like, there's so many different variants.
Could be so many different causes and stuff. Yeah. All you need to know is, in general, eating beef is not going to work for me. Yeah. Like, it's just simple as that. Like,
I loved it. I mean, I wish I could eat a fucking nice juicy steak, but like literally for that pain, I will not. Like, unfortunately, I shared that with my family because they have a lot of back issues, and guess what? They eat a lot of fucking red meat. You know what I mean? Like, what they have for Christmas, they have giant prime rib, and I was like, yo, speaking of prime rib, it might be the reason why you're gonna have back problems for the next 4 days. You know?
Dude, and they're probably like, stop ruining Christmas for us, man. We're trying to eat this prime rib. But you're probably on to something.
That's definitely what they said. They're like, fuck you, Joe. Stay over there in Colorado, eat your fucking turkey or whatever the hell I had.
Yeah, go hunt elk, man. We'll stay here and eat our prime rib. But it's a choice, man. Being aware of that stuff is so helpful. It really is. Like,
but I just think, I wonder if it had any contribute of me doing so much of that stuff when I was younger. You know, like, I did so many carrots. I did so much beef. Like, me and my dad literally ate fucking beef and chicken, beef and pork chops. Like, we had salads with every single meal, okay? Like a real fucking good salad. But we ate meat with meat, and we always had beef. Because that's what we were going. We were going by, like, the fucking bodybuilding ways back in the fucking 70s.
Eat a fuckload of protein. That's
fuckload
the basic.
Fuckload like potatoes and fucking salads and just pound it to you.
I can't say whether or not that did have an effect, but I can say for sure that it could have. And this is some Dr. Rhonda stuff. But one of the coolest things I've learned from podcasts with her is how genetic expression actually works. Like, it's way too common to think about genetics as a fixed thing. Like, oh, I have genetics for this. Like, I have genetics for a lot of muscle or a lot of body fat or whatever it is, and it's kind of stuck there.
It's not a principle, it's a suggestion.
Genetics, no, you have a genetic code that is your DNA.
Yeah, for sure. Like your eye color.
But which ones are expressed, that's a subfield called epigenetics. So just with what we're talking about here, what food you eat will make you express totally different genetic traits. And it's really simple. Like, some foods might trigger a gene, like a fat storing gene. And that, I know I'm way oversimplifying it, but that's the take home for me. It's worth personalizing just on maximizing that genetic expression. Like, don't do things that don't work with your blueprint. So for you, for whatever weird reason, even if it wasn't always like that, maybe at this point in your life, red meat or even just beef is not for you.
I'm hoping in the next couple of years it won't be. I'm hoping in the next couple of years maybe it'll change again. You know, your body does go through those big fucking changes and shit. But like, I like what you just said, because that's some of the stuff that I learned in my school, IIN, is that genetics are, then there is principles and then there's suggestions. Suggestions are only principles when given the chance. So if you eat those foods, just like you said, it's just another way of saying it. When you eat those foods and stuff, you make them become principles. Like, say, oh, Uncle Bill and fucking Mom have diabetes, so you're gonna have diabetes. No. You might not have diabetes.
Just if you put the inputs to express your diabetes gene.
Exactly.
Like that,
exactly.
It really does work like that.
Yeah, it's not a principle that you're going to have diabetes. A principle is your fucking eye color, if theirs are all brown, it's probably going to be fucking brown. You know what I mean? Like, that's a principle.
And that's one you're not going to change by eating different shit. But we're talking about the expression of the genes. And yeah, I think that's a very overlooked thing, but I don't think it will be for long, because I just keep hearing about it more and more, and more people are aware of it, especially ones who are into their health like we are. So yeah, hopefully that'll be common knowledge.
I feel like that was a lazy way for a lot of people to accept things. You
know
what I mean? Like, fucking your dad has diabetes, you have diabetes, or your dad's fat, so you're fat. You know what I mean? Or
that's the most common one.
It's like, what the fuck is that, man? Like, come on, why would you accept
to that? The last one with Rhonda Patrick, where she was talking all about.
I haven't downloaded.
I mean, it's a decent episode. It's probably, it's Rhonda Patrick. It's probably worth listening to. But one of the things she went on heavy, because she was talking a lot about having her kid, which she just recently had a baby, was that if someone, and it carries over from the parents, both the mom and dad, to the kid, like, if you're eating shit foods and expressing, say, that obesity or, like, diabetes gene,
it carries over,
what you do is you don't necessarily, like, destine your kid to have that for the rest of their life. You put them out in a very bad place starting off. Like,
they're more susceptible.
Like, maybe instead of them messing it up later in their life like the parent did, they might come right out of the womb with that obesity part of their genetics being expressed right there, which is...
Or diabetes, like kids coming right out with, like they're diabetic. Like, dude, what the fuck is that? How can you be diabetic at 5 years old, you know?
Dude, type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes. It wasn't called type 2 because it only happened in adults after you'd eaten shit foods for decades. Now it's popping. They can't call it that anymore because it's so common with kids, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how does a fucking 5-year-old have diabetes? Hasn't even had a chance to fucking eat anything yet.
But
you know what I mean?
And
it's because of the parents.
Yeah,
like
it's because you're putting them. It's like you're in this little race with all the other kids. You're making them start 10 yards back. Like, it's just crazy.
Have you seen that? Have you ever seen that example of life? You just fucking nailed it right on there. Where this guy gave a bunch of examples, and he had all these kids line up in a line, and these kids had to make it. Whoever made it past the finish line was going to get $100. But he was gonna say a bunch of things, and if any of those things applied to you, took 2 steps forward. Like he said right off the bat, like if your parents are still together, take 2 steps forward, and they're all like college kids, right? And so 2 kids stepped forward. And as he kept going, like if you've ever had to worry about your cell phone bill being turned off. If you never have worried about your cell phone bill turned off, take 2 steps forward. So he says, hold on, everybody. Now look where you are. He did like 10 of them. Some people are almost at the finish line already. He goes, everybody's trying to go for the same thing. He goes, and all these questions have nothing to pertain to you at all. These are all things you could not control. These are things that are already set up for you in life. He goes, now people in the front, look back. You guys say that you guys have the advantage clearly. He goes, you didn't ask for this. It wasn't something that you said, hey, this is where I'm going to start off. This is what puts you here. He goes, so look at the people in the back. You think they're going to win? He goes, I guarantee you. He even said it. He goes, I guarantee you a couple of those black guys would blow you guys out of the fucking water. But how can they with such a good start? And it was such a nice way to like understand.
Yeah, good visual analogy for it.
Very good visual
that always
analogy.
Helps me.
Like,
yeah,
man, like serious. It was really touching. A lot of people took from that. I could just tell in the comments that I read. It was really good. I liked that because it gave people more respect for each other. You know, because all that change in their life, all that influence, they had nothing to do with. You know, and they all think starting at the same level, like they say the higher people, they're not. Everybody's starting somewhere different as soon as you're born. You know?
Yeah, and that's why you're never going to get any kind of pure equality, and that's just the issue that's just done to death recently, but everyone has different advantages in different ways, so I think there is something to be said for giving people equal opportunity, but to expect them to all come out the same is crazy, man.
Yeah,
to let each individual maximize himself and see where it shakes up, man. See how everyone ends up, and probably be better than say trying, like what I'm referencing here is you get more and more rumblings about trying to any kind of disadvantaged group, and I'm not saying some of the arguments aren't valid, but anyone who might be at a disadvantage, people are trying to equal it out, whether it's like give them tax breaks or give that universal basic income shit, which I said, I don't know, I just maybe that's a good idea. I don't think it is at the moment, but maybe someone could convince me of that. But, you know, it is basically the welfare argument. Like, how much should we prop people up versus let them just let things shake out? Like I said, I want relative. You're never going to get perfectly equal opportunity, but like relative. If we're just talking Americans, you know, we're just talking our country, give everyone about the same starting point. But again, you can't expect everyone to end up in the same place. That's put 10 people on a track, just 10 random people, say all see how fast you can run the mile, you're going to get 10 different scores, even if they all start at the same spot. So yeah, man, that's an interesting one. I like that analogy you brought up, and I hadn't heard of that exact one before. It makes sense though.
Yeah, no, it's a good one, man. They've had a lot of good ones out there. Like, I can't believe all the people that don't have internet, man. Like, I had no clue that it was that big.
Fast,
but like the kids, like the kids themselves, like they did another example. They had a curtain in between. They asked these 5 kids on each side. They asked them the same questions without any tools other than a pen and paper. They all answered them perfect. Then they gave them advantages, and the kids can't see each other. They gave these kids over here a bunch of fucking books, and they gave these kids over here laptops. Now, the kids can't see each other, so they don't know what's going on. So they're asking questions, and the kids with the laptops are fucking, answering the questions. Boom, boom, boom,
Are they
boom.
Just Googling it?
And they're fucking because they have a laptop.
Yeah.
And these kids over here, and they're not. And then they rolled the curtain up, and the kids were like, "Oh shit!" Like, because they have computers, and they started ripping out some stuff. They said over 50% of American children that go to school today have assignments online. Don't have online. Don't have access to any computers. That's over
high,
50.
Man.
It's fucking stupid, doesn't it? I looked it up too, and it was. It stands to be true.
That's like I said. I'm still sticking by what I said. It might take longer than we'd want. I think that's going to change fast because what I'm seeing, man, is, and this is me talking about stuff I am not equipped to talk about. But my guess is we start shooting out internet from satellites instead of cell phone towers and hardwiring it in. Yeah, and I think basically, it'd be like getting a great data connection on your phone. I think they're just going to make everybody's vehicle
Wi-Fi, and eventually that will just connect and make a blanket across America. You know what I mean? If you think about it, like whenever because I'm next to a lot of new cars here, more than back home in Vermont, I walk by and my phone's trying to connect to this dude's fucking Chevy truck over here, and then trying to connect to this tracker over here. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, that is true. However the network shakes up, we're probably both off in some ways, whether it's like direct unit-to-unit connection like Wi-Fi or it's a satellite or whatever it is, we're going to get coverage in most places somewhere in the I'm saying like within a decade, almost the entire world is going to be covered with an internet connection. And yeah, it comes with its downsides. I think that's a good thing for sure, man.
Just the knowledge, man. Look what we're doing now.
They can hear us in Ethiopia or something, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap, man. That gave me a few things to think about for sure. At the end there, got the wheels turning. But we're coming right up on the end of another pretty solid year, man. I'm not I don't see the new year as any like big turning point for me personally. You can go back to what we talked about all the way last year, whatever that was. Who knew that way back, or don't, either way.
Dude, that's cool that we have record of that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go back and listen to our last year, fucking, because this is our ending. This is our ending of the year here.
Wrap up, essentially. Neither of us are really New Year's resolutions type people. It's more long-term goals. The New Year's doesn't have too much to do with that, but it is. I can't deny. It's a good time to. Won't say start fresh, but maybe get re-energized, like start working on something that you had going on, get back to it, if you will.
And I have to say, like, the full closure for me, 2017 was good. I had a fucking good year. I mean, I had a fucking one hell of a growth in my life, and just everything I've done, I can't believe it. I had a hell of a time in 2017. 2016 sucked, but it led to what my 2017 was.
Yep, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm looking to make moves out to Colorado, so shit, we might be Rocky Mountain Views, man.
Hell yeah.
Not really, but in location that'll be true. So we'll have some cool shit going on for 2018. I don't know exactly which direction we'll go, and I'm sure we'll be able to just like we did this year, take it one step farther, man. Get some good stuff going on. So I'm looking forward to it, and just leave it with a Happy New Year's to everyone out there, and
Happy New Year's to all.
Positive shit for that new year. You know what I mean? That's what I'm planning on doing.
Get out there, enjoy, and thrive. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. On that, we're out of there, and Happy New Year.
Peace.